Oh, good, you're still here. Let's continue to part two.
I also want to emphasize that Brotherton is from England, and a lot of Mormon converts came from England and Scandinavia because missionaries would go over there and appeal to the working class women there and try to get the most attractive ones to come with them to the United States. Sometimes they would set up these loan systems where they could take out a loan to come to the US, but not all of them were told about polygamy. Some of them were told that they had a choice regarding polygamy, but that wasn't always the case. There were lots of instances, maybe as many as 20,000, of women being essentially trafficked over to the US to serve as plural wives for leaders of the church. 2 years later, in 1844, Brigham Young is campaigning for Joseph Smith's presidency outside of Illinois when Joseph Smith and his brother Hiram are killed in Carthage, and this begins the succession crisis. Like with most religious cults, there isn't a clear line of succession. People believe that Hiram would take over after Joseph Smith had died, however, he died as well. So, Samuel Smith, Joseph Smith's other brother, asserts himself at the age of 36 that he is the designated president of choice. However, he dies mysteriously a month later, and some assume that he was poisoned by a Hosea scout who gave him a white powder every single morning. After deliberation, Brigham Young is chosen as the second LDS president, mainly because he cites that the quorum of the 12 apostles hold the keys to the priesthood. By 1845, however, tensions begin to rise between Mormons and non-Mormons in the state of Illinois once again. The Illinois legislature votes to repeal the charter for the city of Nauvoo for multiple reasons, such as concerns about the militia called the Nauvoo Legion, as well as potential corruption in the courts. There's also concerns that Mormons are actively counterfeiting Mexican and American money in the city of Nauvoo. This becomes known as Nauvoo Bogus, and in 1845, a grand jury indicts Brigham Young as well as several others for counterfeiting. By 1846, Brigham Young decides that he's going to move the church further westward in order to avoid further violence and to find some sort of isolation from American oversight. Brigham Young leads the Mormons out of Nauvoo in February of 1846, and on July 24, 1847, they arrive in modern-day Utah in the Salt Lake Valley, where Brigham Young decides this is the place, and this is where the Mormons start to settle. As the Mormons begin to settle into the Salt Lake Valley, they come into contact with the local tribes, such as the Ute, Paiute, Shoshone, and the Timpanogos. And the Timpanogos are relatively warm towards the Mormons. They would gamble, fish, and trade together. However, tensions begin to rise as the Mormons start fencing off land for livestock grazing, which cuts into the food supply of the Timpanogos, who rely on foraging. It also doesn't help that the Mormons are practicing a certain type of fishing with nets that again begins to starve the Timpanogos. This all comes to a head with the Provo River Massacre in 1850.
Stay tuned for part three. The Provo River Massacre is one of the worst.